1.5. Arguably, that's the most popular figure in Jamaica so far this year. With much anticipation, a few weeks ago, Finance Minister Audley Shaw brought some much-needed clarity on the $1.5 million tax break. Today on Issues, he provides answers on how this tax plan will grow the economy.
When $12.5 billion are plowed back into the economy, a rising tide lifts all boats.
Plus, we have a little entertainment from the Festival of the Arts, so please stay with us. This is the show with the information you need to know.
Wait, hold on. Colin, hey, what go on? You know, say, I'm on my way to go look about the farm work program. Aye. I love to do the farm work program there, you know. But remember, I serve a 5-year prison sentence for a minor crime. Them can't clear it, you know.
Yes, Colin can get his record expunged. Expungement is having a conviction removed from your criminal record after certain specifications have been met. Visit the Criminal and Civil Justice Division in the Ministry of Justice for more information.
More than 250,000 taxpayers, including self-employed persons, will benefit from the new personal income tax threshold, being implemented over 2 years. This tax plan has brought commendations from the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. Hear now from Finance Minister Audley Shaw as he provides critical details on the tax package and the Jamaican currency.
Thanks for joining us for Issues and Answers. I'm Ian Boyne. Today we have the Minister of Finance and the Public Service, the Honourable Audley Shaw. He closed the budget debate last Thursday, and it is our privilege to have him on Issues and Answers. We know that you want answers to some issues, and we certainly will raise those issues with the Minister. We thank you for your company. Minister, thanks for taking time out for us so shortly after the close of the budget.
Thanks for having me.
Debate. One of the major things which have been discussed out of the budget debate is the move by the administration away from direct taxation to indirect taxation, a move which the IMF has praised as bold and essential. What are the advantages of this, the benefits of moving away from taxing income to taxing consumption?
Well, I think first of all you have to examine the circumstances of our economy, because ultimately different forms of taxation systems are their levels of efficiency are based on how the economy works. Now in Jamaica's case, it's anybody's guess as to the level of the informality in our economy. Some estimate it at 30%. The most popular estimate that I'm aware of is that approximately 40% of Jamaica's economy is categorized as being informal. Now, in those circumstances, part of that informality is due to a deliberate attempt by many income earners to avoid the formal system of paying income taxes. And that's why they prefer to stay below the radar. They prefer to stay in an informal situation. And so in these circumstances, moving away from direct taxation, such as the PAYE, and moving towards more indirect taxation methodologies and approaches, ironically, will, over time, tend to get the economy more formal, because people will feel less threatened that a large chunk of their money, 25% average, is going to be taken out of their income. And quite frankly, I think people will rather feel that, you know something, I'd rather pay a little extra for gasoline because I might have my own conservation methods and therefore have a
Greater
greater
control.
more control over how I expend my disposable income. And the same thing has to do, for instance, I impose travel taxes. Some people might travel very often, others only travel, you know, maybe once in a few years.
Won't affect the average
That sort of thing. And then at the same time, the visiting tourists have an opportunity to make a contribution. That's another example of an indirect tax system. So I think that in our context, and the IMF in fact has appropriately recognized that they believe that this decision to move towards indirect taxation will in fact lead over time to enhancing the propensity for people to become more formal. And of course, we have to push that by policy. We have to say to them, listen now, get formal.
Because there are benefits.
There are benefits. Register as a
trade.
business.
Yes.
Right? Make sure that you have your tax registration number and there are benefits to be gained.
Yes.
Make sure that you're taking the time to make a contribution to your housing trust where there are benefits and now enhanced benefits as announced by the Prime Minister on Tuesday. So make your housing trust contributions, make your NIS contributions, because that is part of your social security for the future. And that's part of being formal. And so there are benefits along the way. And I think that, that if we calibrate it properly, if we put our information systems out properly, and say to people, part of becoming formal as well, set up a business, write a business plan, and approach a lending institution that can lend you money at 7%, single digit, 7-8% interest rate. If I have my way about it, by the middle of my term, I'd like to see people borrowing money at 5% to do business. And because these are the internationally accepted standard for people who want to be entrepreneurs, who want to take risks, and who want to try something. So become part of a formal system where you can access money at 5% to do productive investments, get into productive enterprises. Right now, and I'm not attacking the microfinance people because everybody has their role to play in an economy. But you cannot invest in an export-oriented project where you're going to produce goods or services for export and borrow money at 2% a week. Incrementally, what is that? 104% a year?
Yes,
It can't work.
yes.
1% a week can't work either.
Yes.
52% per year?
Usurious.
It's usurious. It can't work. So, and where the world is operating on productive investments at sub 10%, single-digit interest rates.
No wonder our export figures are disastrously low.
Well, and this is where the conversation, you know, Dr. Damian King,
Yes.
I'm appreciative of a point he made, that in discussing our 1.5, we can now move away from the issue of the tangible increments of money that will go into the hands of people come payday in July. That is now a done deal, right? The important thing for us as a country, not about me, Mr. Honus, or the Jamaica Labour Party, it's about the important thing for us as a country, is that we have to look at this as a point of departure. Dr. King said it's going to change the conversation on growth. And this is the issue. We have to seize the opportunity to say, hold on now, we have an economy that is in disarray. It is structurally defective.
Yes.
In the past 4 years, we have had an economic reform program with the IMF. Or maybe three years, because we have one more year left. And in that period, since the change of government in 2011, we have seen a plunge in export, the export of
We'll take a break.
merchandise exports, a plunge
Yes.
from 1.7 billion US dollars, dropping by 24% down to 1.3 billion US dollars.
Over those
4 years.
over those 4 years.
Yes. we're going in the wrong direction.
At this point, Minister of Finance and the Public Service, the Honorable Audley Shaw, on issues and answers. A number of issues we want to raise. He has the answers. We take a break.
The income tax threshold will move from $592,800 to $1 million on July 1, 2016. And on April 1, 2017, it will move from $1 million to $1.5 million. This will benefit all persons who pay income tax. The government of Jamaica, building a partnership for economic growth and prosperity.
Welcome back to Issues and Answers. The Minister of Finance and the Public Service, the Honorable Audley Shaw, is our guest. So you were talking about the significant decline in exports over the last 4 years, but the opposition spokesman on finance was able to point to a number of areas in which the economy had moved in a positive direction under the watch of the former government. Are you saying that, well, the area of exports is an important area to look at in assessing the success of an economic reform program?
Absolutely, because exports relate to your ability, in part, to earn the foreign exchange that we need in order to run our economy in a stable fashion. And where you're dropping out and you're losing out on exports, that is in part sometimes a causative factor to your exchange rate problems. Because you've seen where, for instance, the main drivers of the economy of Jamaica right now are not foreign exchange earners.
That's true.
They are consumers of foreign exchange.
Yes.
And of course, after the financial sector collapse, we saw the repatriation of insurance industry to foreign ownership, banking industry to foreign ownership. You've had the telecommunications companies that are owned by foreign companies. You have the large drivers of the economy right now are also net exporters of foreign exchange. They do business in Jamaican dollars, but they export their profits.
How would your policies change that?
Exchange.
How would your policies have an impact on that?
It means that your economy must become more diversified. And that is why we have to attract a portion of our productive workforce, especially those who are entrepreneurially inclined. We have got to find ways to stimulate greater productive investments, where entrepreneurs can be part of of an effort to innovate. Why are there inventors in other countries and we don't have enough inventors here? Why don't we have more people do what Jamaicans did when they invented the medication for glaucoma, for instance, using marijuana as a base, and for asthma? These are some. We have had some inventors in Jamaica, but we haven't had enough. We need to encourage more. And so there's a whole range of things that in this 1.5 that we all know we call it now, is this window of opportunity. And it's not a very wide window, but it's an opportunity that must be grabbed. My mother used to always say to me, an opportunity once missed can never be regained. So when I widened the discussion and the Prime Minister supported it, saying, listen, we need a new partnership. It's a partnership for prosperity, but how do you get there? In that road to prosperity, we have to be a more productive people. Our rate of productivity has been in persistent decline for the past 40 years. Year on year, down, 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 down. We've got to make that change. We've got to turn around. So our personal productivity levels have to increase. And I want to say, for instance, everyone who is going to benefit from the 1.5, and even those who won't directly benefit, because the whole country is going to benefit.
Yes.
When $12.5 billion are plowed back into the economy, a rising tide lifts all boats. So when that money drop in July,
yes,
let it not just be an opportunity for conspicuous consumption. Let it be an opportunity for the mindset. Remember what the government is trying to get across to you. We're putting back more money into your pockets, but we want this to be a change in the conversation and a start for us to thinking, hold on, what is the road to prosperity? Not just some money back in our pockets, but to start thinking about how we can be more productive as individuals. Start with the government, start with the government service. Start with every single public sector worker who is benefiting from this. 250,000 people are going to benefit, from this change in policy, 250,000 people, plus self-employed people, plus pensioners, by the way. Pension benefits are there for those who were above the threshold and therefore had to pay income tax on their pension. They too now are going to benefit. But let's start with the worker who is there in each ministry, department, or the agency. How can I be more productive? If a decision can be made in a day, why does it take a week? If something can be done in an hour, should it take a day or 2 days? These are questions that must be asked. And sometimes I sit down and listen to our public sector people, and sometimes I find that we have to be careful we don't get a rope and tie our hands together ourselves. And then we say we can't extricate ourselves from it. We're not asking about it to break the rules,
Yes.
But we have to smooth things out, right? I'll give you an example. There's a company that moved their production from Jamaica, moved it to a foreign country, in order to get their raw material from Jamaica, produced in Jamaica, The raw material, they would have to pay a special consumption tax in Jamaica if they are using it in a factory in Jamaica. But if they're going to CARICOM, they can import it duty-free. So it made more sense for them to produce the product outside of Jamaica, employing 100 people outside of Jamaica. So I called everybody together. I said, this is crazy. I said, this is crazy. And it turned out when the thing was carefully explored, we found out a legal methodology to say, once you can prove that that raw material is going into 100% manufacturing, there's a way out. And we've found it out. Now, within another month or two, 100 jobs are being brought back to Jamaica.
Very important.
Finally, as an example.
We're out of time, but the dollar's been
We're out of time already?
Yes, we'll come back. The dollar's been running away in the last few months. What's behind this?
The Bank of Jamaica has advised us that apparently there were some large portfolio transactions in the business world that put almost like an artificial pressure. Because the conditions that exist right now are not conditions that are inherently supportive of an unstable exchange rate. So the chief among them being the current account deficit being now at its lowest in something like almost 10 years, right? So,
it's not something that's likely to continue.
There's no shortage of foreign exchange.
There's no shortage of foreign exchange.
Right, no shortage of foreign exchange. The net international reserves are at about $2.4 billion right now.
So the Bank of Jamaica
gross
will
reserves
intervene.
are close to $3 billion right now. The Bank of Jamaica, if anything,
will intervene.
Might have taken too long to intervene, but I'm not criticizing them. But they have intervened now, and we have seen over the past several days relative stability beginning.
And we'll be prepared to intervene again.
They have also indicated that. All Jamaicans must understand, including business people, it doesn't serve us any good to have the exchange rate in a perpetual sliding and falling. we together can come together, and business people, including large portfolio holders, they can work together. There needs to be better communication.
That's right.
And it's in our mutual benefit to keep our exchange rate stable.
Thank you very much, Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Honorable Audley Shaw, for being with us to wrap up his budget presentation. The budget debate itself was concluded last Thursday. It was our honor to have the minister with us today. Thank you for your company.
Having me. Thank you.
Until next week, Ian Boyne wishing you a pleasant day.
I say be careful what you teach your little children. Make sure I know something to hurt them. Mind what you saying to my sister. She could be the next Prime Minister.
Children in Jamaica constitute anyone who is under the age of 18 years. And so once you have a child who is under your care and supervision, we encourage you at the Office of the Children's Advocate to always know where your children are. It doesn't mean that you have to be there with them, but you certainly know who they're with, where they're going, and the purpose for being there. This is a key component in helping to establish some rules in terms of some ground rules and helping to guide your children towards responsible and sensible choices, and also assisting you if something were to go wrong to know what is the first point of contact to assist your child. While you're not to look at everybody as a potential suspect, that you need to be very wary of adults, whether they're in positions of authority or not, that seek to want to have a very close relationship with your child. Somebody who wants to invite your child on an outing and it's just that adult and your child alone. Somebody who wants to take your child to a very special event to reward the child, perhaps for some performance that the child would have done in an extracurricular activity or for academic excellence. We encourage you to look at these situations very carefully and to determine whether or not it's an appropriate meeting or outing that this person is propositioning for your child. If you're enrolling your child in a daycare, ensure that you know something about the track record of that daycare. Ensure that the daycare has what we call an open door policy, which allows you to go in, see what's happening, observe how the workers there interact with the children, and know some of the ground rules that guide these interactions. If they're going on outings, whether it be school trips or otherwise, ensure that at some point, even if you can't go to all, you do attend some of them, so you get yourself integrated into the system and the culture of the school. For these tips, and of course any other information that deals with children, that is anyone under 18 years, please feel free to contact the Office of the Children's Advocate. We're at 72 Harbour Street, downtown Kingston, and our numbers are 948-1134, or website www.oca.gov.jm.
Watch what you teach your little children. Make sure I know something to hurt them. Mind what you saying to my sister, cause she could be the next Prime Minister.
Here's a little reminder of the abundance of talent that exists in our Jamaican genes. Watch this.
Everybody get jiggy and just party on. See me in the street, watch the kids, them a dream. Come join the party, all dancers come together as one.
You want die poor and no have a dime, but I your business, not mine. Me nah settle for no little, give me plenty. And if a children are more than 20, and my God bang up bigger than Titan. Come let me tell you this, I keep me want empty. Try, chaka, chaka, try, that I see it on my. Try, chaka, chaka, try, that I see it on my.
I don't know how the judges did it, but they did. They made a decision. And that's the important thing, because the award goes to an institution out of Kingston and St. Andrew, of course. Oh, that don't sound too biased, because I'm really not from Kingston. All right? So, the award goes to the institution that performed the piece, Catch the Vibes, Jesse Paul Primary School.
Tom Cruise. I really think that I'm Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise. I really think that I'm Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise. Ray-Ban. Ray-Ban. Catch me in the dance in my Ray-Ban. 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 Man, I've been back from day one.
Everybody get jiggy and just party on. Setting me in the street, watch the kids, them a do it. Come join the party. All dancers come together as one.
I leave you with this. Smile in the mirror. Do that every morning and you'll start to see a big difference in your life. Try that and let us know how it works for you. Send your feedback or comments to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm. You may also find out more about the government's tax program on our website, jis.gov.jm. We're also on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram and Facebook, so log on and stay in the know. Until next time, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Have yourselves a wonderful day.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.